As an engineering leader, one of the common challenges we heard over the years is that the feature requests from customers bring back by salespeople. They think that adding a feature can help selling a product, and that keep piling up. And engineering leaders, sometimes they feel less empowered because um, the sales conversation or their argument is something can bring revenue to the company, while the engineering team, the itself is expensive to run. So when a decision has been made, do we add a feature or do we optimize for the elegance of the architecture or the product, whatever? So how do you, what are the insights you have that can help a engineering leader to navigate some of those type of situations? Whether you have a vision for the product, you know that's something we don't, we're probably going to accumulate more tech debt in the future, but short term is going to help us with sales.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think qualifying the business case is super important as a leader. And it is really, is there return? If I pivot, like maybe here's my roadmap, right? And I was thinking about these features, but now sales wants me to think about other features. If I do that, what's the gain? What, like, and I think this is a very interesting question, Jerry, because a startup might be more keen on thinking about their biggest customer and whatever their biggest customer, right? Because you just gotta like get fed, and not just sales, but like the entire company. So you just gotta like serve that big customer, right? So it's the squeaky mouse that gets the cheese. That's kind of what might guide an engineering roadmap for a leader. That's a business case in and of itself. It is, we're going to get more out of this customer than all of our other customers combined. It's worth it. Then you have like really large organizations like at Cisco and we have like 16,000 plus salespeople at Cisco. So if they all were to come at every single engineering manager, be like, we want this and we want that. The question is, how do you aggregate that, right? So to build a business case first, what we do is we have a tool that sales teams can interface with, and it's a feature request tool. On the back end, ideally, it's kind of aggregating, and we're doing some analysis on these tools. We're understanding which segments these features would serve the most. If there ends up being critical mass of a feature that's just like, oh, you know what, across every single segment, across like multiple, customer geographies, this seems to be a pain. We need to solve for this. And usually those are pretty apparent. If you're surprised by like what those are, then that's another leadership opportunity, I will just say. But if there's kind of asks from the sales team that arise like that, all right, that is probably a no-brainer, and your business case can likely show for the value of prioritizing those features. Then it is, I think, based on like in partnership with a product manager, what is really important for like the life cycle of this product. If you're in a certain part of the life cycle where it's gonna, kind of retire, or like go off into the sunset in like a year or something, maybe it's not worth it. If it is something where it's like, oh, you know what, this is alive and well, we have 2+ years to like focus on this, like, yeah, or this is actually going to serve another segment of the business with these other products. Okay. And so I think it always ends up being, and you could wrap it down to like if then else and like what is like the best outcome, but and I think it's tough because you have to let go of your attachments. And you have to put, as a leader, your company hat on and your shareholder hat on, and be willing to call your baby ugly, be willing to pivot, and go to where the market needs. Because the reality is, even if you had full agency to go forward with your feature set and your plan, regardless of, contradicting sales input, your stuff is not going to fly off the shelves. So what's the point of you designing this product anyway? What's the point? Like, always have ongoing alignment and have that feedback. And if your customers are giving you feedback on like, hey, please put these features in, that's meaningful to listen to and at least be aware of. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's always the business case and always qualifying and doing the if then else to find the best outcome.
Yeah, it's helpful to know the two end of spectrum, like a startup and also a very mature large enterprise. I guess the messy middle is the part that get people confused. Like as you grow, as you scale, initially it's clear, but at one point things change, and do you have the awareness to adapt, and all that can be something interesting to dig into.
Yeah, that's hard. I mean, and like, as long as like we can be agile to pivot, and we have executive sponsorship if we don't pivot, that's also super helpful.